Let's start today's video off by looking at these new lights that I got. Real nice. And now let me illuminate you. But I want to talk about depression and also kind of like what causes, what could be a cause to people's depression. Our favorite therapist, the twerking therapist, has this new video out. It's probably making its rounds, but now she's crying, talking about how she's going through depression. And I noticed in one of her last videos, if you look at her previously and then now, I think maybe the environment has changed, or she's just maybe just another room in her place. But I think maybe her environment's changed, maybe living with somebody else, like moving into parents or something like that. But I often talk about environment, right? And how that affects you. But another thing that really affects a lot of people is holding on to anger. And I've talked about this before as well. But holding on to like anger and certain feelings, certain, let me let this bus pass. Holding on to certain things that have happened in your life previously and not letting them go. Bad things that have happened to you in your life previously and just not letting them go and not saying, hey, listen, I want something different for myself, and just always keeping on. You know, we've seen this same twerking therapist, you know, talk firstly in the beginning, talking badly about men and how they need to heal and all this other shit. And then now, and then went on to talk badly about the passport bros and things like that, calling them boys and the usual pedo and all this other stuff. And now you see where, and like even when she was doing that video, I said, you know, in email and in chats, I was like, yo, this chick is going to the dark side. You can see it on her face. Like, she looks, honestly, she just looks like she was becoming a little bit more retarded. I'm saying that on like, not trying to be rude or anything, but kind of like more Down syndrome, like a Down syndrome look. Let me get that out of my shoe. More of like a Down syndrome look, where her eyes became a little bit more droopy, face becoming a little bit more fat, you know. And she's not like a big woman or anything. It's just like you could see it in her face. Like, she just looked down. Like, she did not look happy anymore. And I could see that happening when, you know, you lose something that you love in terms of your job and the work that she does or did and things like that. But why did that happen? What about you, what low level of contempt that you have for black men in general, where you would talk about them, the same clients that you talk about, or the same clients you talk to and try and help, you actually talk about them in a negative light, you know, or in a very aggressive tone in public when it's something that should be private. And for somebody that actually is there to supposedly help you to actually feel that way about you and say these things, we know how that can actually affect the advice you give this person. So it's not like it's like, oh, well, you know, she could separate the two or what have you. And the point, let me just get to the point here. What we're seeing, and what we're seeing in her especially, is that it's like going to the dark side of the force, and how that affects you and how it affects your look and everything else like that, because you hold on to, you know, this, you hold on to this anger, and it becomes you, and to the point where Anakin Skywalker was gone. He no longer exists. The only thing that existed was, was Darth Vader. Who is she? What is her Darth name? You know, Darth Therapist? Like, the only thing that exists is Darth Therapist now. And yeah, she can come back from that. She can change. She can improve her life and go on from there. But what happens to that person? You know, like, what happens to that person over time? And how is this person changing into something that they may never recover from? Because they don't want to let go of, you know, they want to avoid shame. They want to, you know, guilt other people into certain things and talking to people a certain way, talking to men or talking about a group of people a certain way, and expecting, you know, not to actually have to deal with the consequences of that. So a lot of people, I think people, and I think a lot of them are dealing with bouts of depression because they don't want to let go of certain things. I remember me personally, when I was depressed, it wasn't so much anger. It was so much like I was getting overwhelmed by some of the things that were happening to me. I was getting overwhelmed by the amount of trash that's in my freaking pond on the shore. Like, look at that. Look at that. You can see the little white spots out there. Some of it's a drain, but there's like freaking Circle K cups in this bitch. I gotta get like a freaking boat, man. I really gotta get a boat in here and get this stuff cleaned up. Anyways, but I was overwhelmed by all the things that were happening. Like, I was trying to juggle everything, and I was doing it really kind of alone because my business partners just, one fell off and of course had to support his family, and another one just wouldn't listen to me, and really couldn't bring in the people as well. And of course he felt some type of way about that as well. Maybe like, you know, bouts of inadequacy and stuff like that. And that he just couldn't, you know, perform in a sense, and couldn't come to us with saying, hey, listen, man, I can't do this, or I need help, or I mean, there's a problem here, so on and so forth, that, you know, I can't solve alone. And some people just, you know, they don't want to come to you and talk to you about that, you know. I was depressed because, you know, I'm looking down the barrel of a $7,000 a month rent on a property, or on something that I don't even really own. It's just $7 grand every month for rent, you know, for 3,700 square foot. And I'm living at my mom's house at the time. Things have changed, obviously, but living at my mom's house at the time and not being able to do more, or being able to hold up all of that, and then also do the other things in my life, having a hard time just to even say, yo, listen, I just want to step out of the house for a little bit. Nah, bitch, you can't afford it. Anyways, I think when it comes to her and the point of all this, and I talk about myself and I use myself, but when it comes to all this, I see her and I see what she's going through and how it's physically changing her. You know, like, you could see it in her face. Even the latest video of her crying and really bawling out, you know, talking about her depression, her face looks whiter. Like, it looks a lot lighter than it did before. And it could be the lighting, but oh my God, this woman looks like she just stays inside all the time. And that happens when you're depressed. You don't want to see anyone. You know, she talked about being, you know, checking in with your strong friend and everything else like that. She's really, you know, putting out a cry for help. And why? And then, you know, you see the mood swings, right? Where she's talking about passport bros and all this other stuff one minute, or how men aren't doing this and so on and so forth. And it's just like, wow. You know, it's always just ups and downs. There's no steady pace to it. And I understand that. When you're going through that, like, you try to find like ways to, like, you know, to liven yourself up, to brighten up, you know, to be happier. And sometimes it just doesn't work. There's nothing you can do that would make you happy. There's work and and things you can go to and all this other stuff, but, you know, it's one of those, like, you just have to, in a sense, go through it, sometimes alone or maybe with another person, but you have to go through these things so that you can actually make it through this, make it out of it. But to each their own. This is a bit of a ramble here, but, you know, I think she has a lot of anger that she has to let go. Maybe things that she can't control. Men that she can't deal with, you know. I think, you know, she really needs to, in a sense, deal with that, get through that, more importantly than anything else out there or what's going on. What the hell is this? Let's get this closed. It looks dangerous. And I really think, you know, we as men, we as brothers in this space need to watch out for ourselves and our brothers and more importantly, use her as a case study, use other people like her as a case study. We're seeing more and more women. And, you know, I asked, hey, listen, am I late? You know, I asked at one point in a chat, am I late? But a lot of these women are just coming to the table like sad, like fuck, like we're seeing more and more of it. And it's like the early stages of it, but you're seeing more and more people where they're just coming to the table and saying, listen, this is a problem. I can't solve it, and I need your help. Like when you got Dennis Sperling, and this woman is he's doing an interview with her, and he says, these men that who love me and expect me to do X, Y, and Z, you know, after hearing all of this for years on end, or year after year, decade after decade, for 5 decades straight, you mean to tell me I'm supposed to tell these men to come back? And the lady, all she could say is yes, knowing it's bad for the men. Yes, y'all need to come back. Y'all need to help us. And I was just like, whoa, that's a new low. You know it's bad. You know what these men have to deal with. They're your sisters, your aunties, your cousins, you know, the nieces, the grandmas, the moms, and everything else. Your homegirls, that ratchet ass friend that you turned up with in the club that one night, and y'all just like, you know, y'all just vibed for a second and never really talk to each other, or you only meet with each other at the same spot every time, and maybe it turns into like a better friendship or something like that. Like, these are the women that we have to deal with. And you know what they're doing, what they're saying, how they're acting, how they're treating men, how they're treating themselves. And you know they ain't shit. And like, honestly, a lot of the stuff that you hear and see is projecting. You know, Angry Man had a short the other day talking about, it was TLC, I think. Yeah, TLC. I Don't Want No Scrub. And finding out TLC was only making 50 grand. Now, even with inflation, let's say that's 75 grand of today's money. And of course, you look at these women today and they say, hey, listen, 75, 80 grand is not a lot. Even though by the numbers, that's a shit ton fuckload, right? They were projecting. They were saying they pretty much didn't want themselves. And, you know, even if they said like 50 grand, I think that's like what they made. Check on Angry Man's channel. But I think that's probably what they made after taxes or whatever, right? But 50 grand. I mean, and they don't want no scrubs. These are women that like made hits. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Don't want no scrubs. And some of the other things that they came out with at the time, I don't really remember. But it's like, these are women that made hits, dude. And I mean, when I got this place, I was making like 75K, but I'm doing way better than what they were. It's just crazy. It's just really crazy when you see it. And again, this is the fuel that is fueling a lot of the views that women have on men, is that their own, not poor life choices, but their own lackluster average lifestyle juxtaposed to what they see online from other people. You would look at TLC, at the time TV, so MTV and all that other stuff. You would look at TLC and think, wow, they have it great. As soon as the video shoots over, that rented car and all this other stuff that they're rapping and singing out of gets returned. The jewelry, the clothes, that gets returned, or they keep it or have to pay for it or what have you. All that stuff goes away. And when the lights are fucking off, they are left with lackluster pay for that does not meet, or that does not even meet or match the fame that they deserve for the work that they did. They were freaking amazing at the time. They were groundbreaking at the time. And they were projecting the whole time. They were projecting and saying, hey, listen, I don't want no scrub, but they really were the scrubs themselves. And this is what you're seeing from a lot of women nowadays, where it's just like they're projecting onto the men how they feel about themselves, how they actually look at their own lives. And they really think it's really the men. And it's like, no, you, baby, you the scrub. You're in a bad position. And honestly, even if you met a man in the same position as you, you still wouldn't take them, because even if you met a man in that same position as you, and you two together can build something great, fantastic, wonderful, something that can stand the test of time, you wouldn't, because for some reason you feel that man is lower than you. That's just the crazy part about it. There's a lot of people are looking at themselves as quote unquote better, and they really don't even match up, and they can't do it themselves, by themselves. Anyways, that went off a little bit, but I did want to talk about that, and I hope it's a little bit food for thought for other brothers in the space. Enjoy your environment, change your environment, especially a change of environment, a change of habitat, a change of, you know, friends and circles and people that you talk to can really have a positive impact on you. And I think it's really important that we try to make friends and make associations and partnerships and networks that will not only benefit the people that are within the network, but more importantly, ourselves. Be unapologetically selfish by sharing, by helping other people, because by you investing, I've talked about this a number of times, there are three ways, or there are three kind of like relationships that you have. You have the simp relationship, where you pay for something, or you pay into, or you put into a relationship and get you don't get an equal or outsized return. There are the relationships where you're a trick, where it's transactional. I pay for this, I get this. So it's equivalent exchange. And then there's investments. The investments are the most important things. The investments, the relationships where you make an investment in a person are the most important ones. Those are the relationships that you need to care for, manage, and work with other people to ensure that it is successful for you and that person. Because with an investing relationship, you're going to put in not a little, but you're going to put in enough, more than enough, you know, to help that person, to get to that person to the next level, and them come back, and they come back and help you out, and also help you get to the next level or maintain a certain level, what have you. You guys come together and you do better together. And a lot of people need to be looking at those relationships instead of looking for a 6-figure nigga, 7-figure nigga, and all these other fucking tropes and fantasies that a lot of these people are talking about on social media. They look good, don't have shit, and couldn't even afford the fucking Uber to even get to Just Pearly Things or any one of these Table Lates, Daily Rap Crew shows. They gotta drive with their homegirls, borrow that person's car, so on and so forth to get it. But then they're going to talk down on you and foreign women, you as black men and foreign women, as if they're in a better position. Brothers, you have to look through a lot of this stuff and see that a lot of this is rooted in projection. And a lot of this is rooted in these people not feeling good about themselves. They say that about us. We're doing the work within this space to one another, with one another, to actually heal one another, to actually get us to a place and a point where we say, hey, this doesn't make any sense, I need to leave, or this doesn't make any sense. And that leaving could be leaving the relationships, leaving your environment, your immediate environment, finding a better place to live, a quieter place to live. I mean, you've heard my environment. You hear that? Oh, what? Truck, even with the bus depot being right there. You hear how peaceful my environment is. There's a lot of people that don't have that. And we as men need to get to those points where we leave these bad relationships, these environments, these places, these situations of lack, and move to better environments, better places. I am not a passport bro. I love where I live here, and I love it great. I love it dearly, and I don't want to move anywhere else, even though I have the resources to do so. But trust and believe, we have a way out. and it needs to be put on the table. It is an option, and other people need to understand that. Even if you don't want to tell them, just let them know. Even if you don't want to tell them, let them know through your actions. Anyways, with that being said, I rambled definitely a lot on this one. Love you all. Appreciate you all. Wish you all the best. Peace.